enlightenment. Swakato yena bhagavata dhammo. To the teaching which he expounded so well. Supatipanno yasa bhagavato savaka sangho. And to the blessed ones, disciples who have practiced well. Dhammayang bhagavantang sadhammang sasanghang. To these the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Yeme isakare yataraham aropite yapipujayama. We render with offerings our rightful homage. Sadhu no bhante bhagava sutira pariniputopi. It is well for us that the Blessed One, having attained liberation, Pachima Janata Nukampa Manasa, still had compassion for later generations. Ime sakare dukata panakara bhute patikanhatu. May these simple offerings be accepted. Amhakanti karatang hitaya sukhaya. For our long-lasting benefit and for the happiness it gives us. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava. The Lord, the perfectly enlightened and blessed one. Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. I render homage to the Buddha, the Blessed One. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo. The teaching so completely explained by him. Dhammang namasami. I bow to the Dhamma. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho. The Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well. Sanghang namami. I bow to the Sangha. Anmayang buddhassa bhagavato buddhapakanamakarang daromase. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Andamayang buddha bitutingaro mase. Yoso tathagato araham samma sambuddho. The Tathagata is the pure one, the perfectly enlightened one. Vita charana sampanno. He is impeccable in conduct and understanding. Sugato, the accomplished one. Lokavitu, the knower of the worlds. Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati. He trains perfectly those who wish to be trained. Sattva Deva Manusanam. He is teacher of gods and humans. Buddha Bhagava. He is awake and holy. Yo imam lokam sadevakam sabarakam sabrahmakam. In this world with its gods, demons, and kind spirits, sa samana brahmaning vajang sadeva manusang sayang apinya sachikatawa bhavedesi. Its seekers and sages, celestial and human beings, he has by deep insight revealed the truth. Yo dhammang te se si adikalayanam Mache Kalayanam Pariyosana Kalayanam. He has pointed out the Dhamma, beautiful in the beginning, beautiful in the middle, beautiful in the end. Satam Sapayanjanam Kevala Paripunam Varisutam Brahmacharyam Bakasesi. He has explained the spiritual life of complete purity in its essence and conventions. Tamaham Bhagavantam Abhipujayami Tamaham Bhagavantam Sirasa Namami. I chant my praise to the Blessed One. I bow my head to the Blessed One.
Andameyang Dhamma Bitutingaro Mase
Yoso Soakato Bhagavata Dhammo. The Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One. Sanditiko, apparent here and now. Akaliko, timeless. Elipasiko, encouraging investigation. Otanaiko, leading onwards. Pachatang Vedita Bhovinyohi, to be experienced individually by the wise. Dhammaham dhammam abhipujayami, dhammaham dhammam sirasa namami. I chant my praise to this teaching. I bow my head to this truth.
Andameyang Sangha Bitutingaro Mase
Yoso supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho. They are the Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well. Uchupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho, who have practiced directly. Nyaya patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho, who have practiced insightfully. Sami Jipatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, those who practice with integrity. Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yukani Atha Purisa Pukala. That is the four pairs, the 8 kinds of noble beings. Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho. These are the Blessed One's disciples. Ahunayo, such ones are worthy of gifts. Pahunayo, worthy of hospitality. Dakinayo, worthy of offerings. Anjali Karaniyo, worthy of respect. Anuttaram Punyaketam Lokasa, they give occasion for incomparable goodness to arise in the world. Dhammaham sangham abhipujayami, dhammaham sangham sirasa namami. I chant my praise to this sangha. I bow my head to this sangha.
ครับแก้วไหม
the Blessed One,
The Lord who fully attained perfect enlightenment to the teaching which he expounded so well, and to the Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well, to these the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, we render with offerings our rightful homage. It is well for us that the Blessed One, having attained liberation, still had compassion for later generations. May these simple offerings be accepted for our long-lasting benefit and for the happiness it gives us.
the Lord,
The perfectly enlightened and blessed One, I render homage to the Buddha, the Blessed One,
the teaching,
so completely explained by him. I bow to the Dhamma,
the Blessed One's disciples,
who have practiced well. I bow to the Sangha.
Now let us pay preliminary homage to the Buddha.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened One. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened One. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened One.
Now let us chant the recollection of the Buddha.
The good word of the Blessed One's reputation has spread as follows. He, the Blessed One, is indeed the pure one, the perfectly enlightened one. He is impeccable in conduct and understanding, the accomplished one, the knower of the worlds. He trains perfectly those who wish to be trained. He is teacher of gods and humans. He is awake and holy.
Now let us chant the supreme praise of the Buddha.
The Buddha, the truly worthy one, endowed with such excellent qualities, whose being is composed of purity, transcendental wisdom, and compassion, who has enlightened the wise like the sun, awakening the lotus. I bow my head to that peaceful chief of conquerors, the Buddha, who is the safe, secure refuge of all beings. As the first object of recollection, I venerate him with bowed head. I am indeed the Buddha's servant. The Buddha is my Lord and guide. The Buddha is sorrow's destroyer, who bestows blessings on me. To the Buddha I dedicate this body and life, and in devotion I will walk the Buddha's path of awakening. For me there is no other refuge. The Buddha is my excellent refuge. By the utterance of this truth, may I grow in the Master's way. By my devotion to the Buddha and the blessing of this practice, by its power, may all obstacles be overcome. By body, speech, or mind, or whatever wrong action I have committed towards the Buddha, may my acknowledgement of fault be accepted, that in future there may be restraint regarding the Buddha.
Now let us chant the recollection of the Dhamma.
The Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One, apparent here and now, timeless, encouraging investigation, leading onwards to be experienced individually by the wise.
Now let us chant the supreme praise of the Dhamma.
It is excellent, it is well expounded, and it can be divided into path and fruit, learning and liberation. The Dhamma holds those who uphold it from falling into delusion. I revere the excellent teaching, that which removes darkness, the Dhamma which is the supreme, secure refuge of all beings. As the second object of recollection, I venerate it with bowed head. I am indeed a Dhamma servant. The Dhamma is my Lord and guide. The Dhamma is sorrow's destroyer, and it bestows blessings on me. To the Dhamma I dedicate this body and life, and in devotion I will walk this excellent way of truth. For me there is no other refuge. The Dhamma is my excellent refuge. By the utterance of this truth, may I grow in the Master's way. By my devotion to the Dhamma and the blessing of this practice, by its power, may all obstacles be overcome. By body, speech, or mind, for whatever wrong action I have committed towards the Dhamma, may my acknowledgement of fault be accepted, that in future there may be restraint regarding the Dhamma.
Now let us chant the recollection of the Sangha.
They are the Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well, who have practiced directly, who have practiced insightfully, those who practice with integrity. That is the four pairs, the 8 kinds of noble beings. These are the Blessed One's disciples. Such ones are worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of respect. They give occasion for incomparable goodness to arise in the world.
Now let us chant the supreme praise of the Sangha.
Born of the Dhamma, the Sangha which has practiced well, the field of the Sangha formed of 8 kinds of noble beings, guided in body and mind by excellent morality and virtue. I revere that assembly of noble beings, perfected in purity, the Sangha which is the supreme, secure refuge of all beings. As the third object of recollection, I venerate it with bowed head. I am indeed a Sangha servant. The Sangha is my Lord and guide. The Sangha is sorrow's destroyer, and it bestows blessings on me. To the Sangha I dedicate this body and life, and in devotion I will walk the well-practiced way of the Sangha. For me there is no other refuge. The Sangha is my excellent refuge. By the utterance of this truth, may I grow in the Master's way. By my devotion to the Sangha and the blessing of this practice, by its power, may all obstacles be overcome. By body, speech, or mind, for whatever wrong action I have committed towards the Sangha, may my acknowledgement of fault be accepted, that in future there may be restraint regarding the Sangha.
Andhameyang Ratanataya Panamakata Yojeva Sangveka Parikitana Patancha Panamase.
Buddha Susata Karuna Mahandavo, the Buddha absolutely pure with ocean-like compassion. Yo Chanta Sutta Paranyana Lojano, possessing the clear sight of wisdom. Loka Sababu Akile Sakatako, destroyer of all deeds of corruption. Vandami Buddham Mahamadare Natam, devoted indeed that Buddha I revere. Dhammo Paripuriyata Sasatuno, the teaching of the Lord like a lamp. Yoma Kapaka Matapeda Pinnako, illuminating the path and its fruit, the deathless. Lokutaro Yo Chatatha Patipano, that which is beyond the conditioned world. Vandami Dhamma Mahamadare Natam, devoted indeed the Dhamma I revere. Sangho Sukheta Payatiketa Sannito, the Sangha, the most fertile ground for cultivation. Yodita Santo Sukhata Nubodako, those who have realized peace, awaken after the accomplished one. Lola Paino Ario Sumetaso, noble and wise, all longing abandoned. Vandami Sangham Mahamadare Natam, devoted indeed the Sangha I revere. Ijeva Mekam Tapipushanayakam, this salutation should be made. Vatutayam Vandayata Visampradam, to that which is worthy. Punyam Mayayam Namasakupatawa, through the power of such good action. Mahoduveda Savabhava Siddhya, may all obstacles disappear. Ita Tathagato Loke Upano Araham Samma Sambuddho, one who knows things as they are has come into this world, and he is an Arahant, a perfectly awakened being. Dhammo Jate Sito Niyaniko Upasamiko Parinipaniko Sambodhakami Sukata Pavedito, purifying away anything out of delusion, calming and directing to perfect peace, and leading to enlightenment. This way he has made known. Mayantang Dhammam Sutawa Evam Janama, having heard the teaching we know this. Jati Pituka, birth is dukkha. Jati Pituka, aging is dukkha. Maranam Pitukkam, and death is dukkha. Soka Parideva Dukkha Domana Supaya Sati Dukkha, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are dukkha. Adiyehi Sampayoga dukkha, association with the dislike is dukkha. Viyehi Vipayoga dukkha, separation from the like is dukkha. Yampi Samnalapati Tampi dukkha, not attaining one's wishes is dukkha. Sankitena Panchupadana Kanta Dukkha. In brief, the five purposes of identity are dukkha. Sayatikam. These are as follows. Rupupadana Kanto, attachment to form. Vedanupadana Kanto, attachment to feeling. Sanyupadana Kanto, attachment to perception. Sankharupadana Kanto, attachment to karma formations. Vinyanupadana Kanto, attachment to sense consciousness. Yesam Parinyaya, for the complete understanding of this. Naramano So Bhagava, the Blessed One in his lifetime. Evam Bahulam Savake Vineti, frequently instructed his disciples in just this way. Evam bhakata bhagavato savakesu anusasami pahulat bhavatati. In addition, he further instructed, Rupam anicca, form is impermanent, Vedana anicca, feeling is impermanent, Sanya anicca, perception is impermanent, Sankhara anicca, karma formations are impermanent, Vijnanam anicca, sense consciousness is impermanent, Rupam anatta, form is not self, Vedana anatta, feelings is not self, Sanya anatta, perception is not self, Sankhara anatta, karma formations are not self, Vijnanam anatta, sense consciousness is not self, Sabbe sankhara anicca, all conditions are transient, Sabbe Dhamma anattati, there is no self in the created or the uncreated, Maya, all of us, Bodhina Mahachatiya Chara Maranena, abandoned by birth, aging, and death, so ke parite ituke ito manase upaya sehi, by sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair, dukkha dukkha pareta, bound by dukkha and obstructed by dukkha, apevana mimasa keva rasa dukkha kandasa anta kiriya panyayetati. Let us all aspire to complete freedom from suffering. Chiraparini Bhutang Pitang Bhagavantang Buddhissa Arahantang Samma Sambuddham. Remembering the Blessed One, the Noble Lord, and perfectly enlightened One, who long ago attained Parinibbana, Saddha Agara Sama Anakariyam Pachita. We have gone forth with faith from home to homelessness. Tasamin Bhagavati Brahmacharyan Charama. And like the Blessed One, we practice the holy life. Bhikkhunam Sikkasa Jiva Samapana. Being fully equipped with the Bhikkhu system of training. Dhamno Brahmacharyan Imasakeva Rasa Dukkha Kandasa Anta Kiriyaya Samvatatu. May this holy life lead us to the end of this torment of suffering.
Now let us chant the verses of sharing and aspiration.
Through the goodness that arises from my practice, may my spiritual teachers and guides of great virtue, my mother, my father, and my relatives, the sun and the moon, and all virtuous leaders of the world, may the highest gods and evil forces, celestial beings, guardian spirits of the earth, and the Lord of death, may those who are friendly, indifferent, or hostile, may all beings receive the blessings of my life, may they soon attain the threefold bliss, and realize the deathless, through the goodness that arises from my practice, and through this act of sharing, may all desires and attachments quickly cease, and all harmful states of mind, until I realize Nibbana in every kind of birth. May I have an upright mind, with mindfulness and wisdom, austerity and vigor. May the forces of delusion not take hold, nor weaken my resolve. The Buddha is my excellent refuge. Unsurpassed is the protection of the Dhamma. The solitary Buddha is my noble Lord. The Sangha is my supreme support. Through the supreme power of all these, may darkness and delusion be dispelled.
This is what should be done
By one who is skilled in goodness, and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing, that the wise will later reprove. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being free from all sense desires, is not born again into this world.
Damyang Brahma Vihara Paranam Karomase
Aham Sukhito Homi, Nituko Homi, Avero Homi, Advaya Pajo Homi, Aniko Homi, Sukhi Atanam Bariharami, Sape Sata Sukhita Huntu, Sape Sata Avera Huntu, Sape Sata Abhaya Pacha Huntu, Sape Sata Anika Huntu, Sape Sata Sukhi Atanam Pariharantu, Sape Sata Sabba Dukha Pamunchantu, สัพเพสัตตาลัทธสัมปติโตมาวิกาชันตุสัพเพสัตตากัมมัสสกากัมมดายาดากัมมโยนิกัมมปันทุกัมมปฏิสรณายังกัมมังกริสันติกัลยาณังวาปะปะกังวาตัสสะดายาตาภวิสันติ
May I abide in well-being,
in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all beings be released from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained when they act upon intention. All beings are the owners of their action and inherit its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such actions, and its results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts, they will be the heirs.
อันธมยังจตุรปมัญญาโอภาสนังกโรมะเส
เมตตาสหกเตนะเจตสาเอกังดิสัมปริตวาวิหารติตถาดุติยังตถาตติยังตถาจตุตังอิติโอธัมมโรติริยังสัพพติสัพพะตถายาสัพพะวันตังโลกังเมตตาสหกเตนะเจตสาวิปุเลนะมหกเตนะอัปปมาเนนะอเวเรนะอภยปัจเจนะปริตวาติหรติกรุณาสหกเตนะเจตสาเอกัมนิสัมปริตวาวิหารติตถาทุติยังตถาตติยังตถาจตุตังอิติโอธัมมโรติริยังสัพพติสัพพะตถายาสัพพะวันตังโลกังกรุณาสหกเตนะเจตสาวิปุเลนะมหกเตนะอัปปมาเนนะอเวเรนะอัมพยาปัจเจนะปริตวาวิหารติมุทิตาสหกเตนะเจตสาเอกังติสัมปริตวาวิหารติตถาทุติยังตถาตติยังตถาจตุตังอิติโอธัมมโรติริยังสัพพติสัพพะตถายาสัพพะวันตังโลกังมุทิตาสหกเตนะเจตสาวิปุเลนะมหกเตนะอัปปมาเนนะอเวเรนะอภยปัจเจนะปริตวาวิหารติอุเปกขาสหกเตนะเจตสาเอกัมปิสัมภริตวาวิหารติตถาทุติยังตถาตติยังตถาจตุตังอิติโอธัมมโรติริยังสัพพติสัพพะตถายาสัพพะวันตังโลกังอุเปกขาสหกเตนะเจตสาวิปุเลนะมหกเตนะอัปปมาเนนะอเวเรนะอัมพยาปัจเจนะปริตวาวิหารติ
หันธรรมยังอภินนาปัจเจเวกนภาธัมปนามเสชาธัมโมนิจารังอนัตติโต I am of the nature to age. I am not gone beyond aging. Payati Dhammo mi payating anatito. I am of the nature to sicken. I have not gone beyond sickness. Marana Dhammo mi maranang anatito. I am of the nature to die. I have not gone beyond dying. Sape ime piye imana pe itana bhavo vina bhavo. All that is mine, beloved and pleasing, will become otherwise, will become separated from me. Kamma sakomi kamma dayato kamma yoni kamma bandhu kamma patisarano. Yang kamang karisami kalayanam vatapakam vatasadayado bhavisami. I am the owner of my karma, heir to my karma, born of my karma, related to my karma, abide supported by my karma. Whatever karma I shall do, for good or for ill, of that I will be the head. Evam amhe yabinam pachavekitapam. Thus we should frequently recollect.
The following is a talk by the Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw Agamaha Pandita Usvabana, given to his disciples on their induction into Vipassana meditation at Sasanayeta Meditation Center, Rangoon, Burma. Practical Vipassana meditational exercises. The practice of Vipassana, or insight meditation, is the effort made by the meditator to understand correctly the nature of the psycho-physical phenomena taking place in his own body. Physical phenomena are the things or objects which one clearly perceives around one. The whole of one's body that one clearly perceives constitutes a group of material qualities, rupa. Psychical or mental phenomena are acts of consciousness or awareness, nama. These nama rupas are clearly perceived to be happening whenever they are seen, heard, smelt, tasted, touched, or thought of. We must make ourselves aware of them by observing them and noting thus: seeing, seeing, hearing, hearing, smelling, smelling, tasting, tasting, touching, touching, or thinking, thinking. Every time one sees, hears, smells, tastes, touches, or thinks, one should make a note of that fact. But in the beginning of one's practice, one cannot make a note of every one of these happenings. One should therefore begin with noting those happenings which are conspicuous and easily perceivable. With every act of breathing, the abdomen rises and falls, which movement is always evident. This is the material quality known as Vayodhatu, the element of motion. One should begin by noting this movement, which may be done by the mind intently observing the abdomen. You will find the abdomen rising when you breathe in and falling when you breathe out. The rising should be noted mentally as rising and the falling as falling. If the movement is not evident, by just noting it mentally, keep touching the abdomen with the palm of your hand. Do not alter the manner of your breathing, neither slow it down nor make it faster. Do not breathe too vigorously either. You will tire if you change the manner of your breathing. Breathe steadily as usual and note the rising and falling of the abdomen as they occur. Note it mentally, not verbally. In Vipassana meditation, what you name or say doesn't matter. What really matters is to know or perceive. While noting the rising of the abdomen, do so from the beginning to the end of the movement, just as if you are seeing it with your eyes. Do the same with the falling movement. Note the rising movement in such a way that your awareness of it is concurrent with the movement itself. The movement and the mental awareness of it should coincide in the same way as a stone thrown hits the target. Similarly with the falling movement. Your mind may wander elsewhere while you are noting the abdominal movement. This must also be noted by mentally saying, wandering, wandering. When it has been noticed once or twice, the mind stops wandering, in which case you go back to noting the rising and falling of the abdomen. If the mind reaches somewhere, note as reaching, reaching. Then go back to the rising and falling of the abdomen. If you imagine meeting somebody, note as meeting, meeting. Then back to the rising and falling. If you imagine meeting and talking to somebody, note as talking, talking. In short, whatever thought or reflection occurs should be noted. If you imagine, note as imagining. If you think, thinking. If you plan, planning. If you perceive, perceiving. If you reflect, reflecting. If you feel happy, happy. If you feel bored, bored. If you feel glad, glad. If you feel disheartened, disheartened. Noting all these acts of consciousness is called Chittanupassana. Because we fail to note these acts of consciousness, we tend to identify them with a person or individual. We tend to think that it is I who is imagining, thinking, planning, knowing, or perceiving. We think there is a person who from childhood onwards has been living and thinking. Actually, no such person exists. There are instead only those continuing and successive acts of consciousness. That is why we have to note these acts of consciousness and know them for what they are. That is why we have to note each and every act of consciousness as it arises. When so noted, it tends to disappear. We then go back to noting the rising and falling of the abdomen. When you have sat meditating for long, sensations of stiffness and heat will arise in your body. These are to be noted carefully too. Similarly, with sensations of pain and tiredness. All these sensations are dukkha vedana, feeling of unsatisfactoriness, and noting them is vedananupassana. Failure or omission to note these sensations makes you think, I am stiff, I am feeling hot, I am in pain, I was all right a moment ago, now I am uneasy with these unpleasant sensations. The identification of these sensations with the ego is mistaken. There is really no I involved, only a succession of one new unpleasant sensation after another. It is just like a continuous succession of new electrical impulses that light up electric lamps. Every time unpleasant contacts are encountered in the body, unpleasant sensations arise, one after the other. These sensations should be carefully and intently noted, whether they are sensations of stiffness, of heat, or of pain. In the beginning of the yogi's meditational practice, these sensations may tend to increase and lead to a desire to change his posture. This desire should be noted, after which the yogi should go back to noting the sensations of stiffness, heat, etc. Patience leads to nibbana, as the saying goes. This saying is most relevant in meditational effort. One must be patient in meditation. If one shifts or changes one's posture too often because one cannot be patient with the sensation of stiffness or heat that arises, samadhi, good concentration, cannot develop. If samadhi cannot develop, insight cannot result, and there can be no attainment of magga, the path that leads to nibbana, phala, the fruit of that path, and nibbana. That is why patience is needed in meditation. It is patience mostly with unpleasant sensations in the body, like stiffness, sensations of heat and pain, and other sensations that are hard to bear. One should not immediately give up one's meditation on the appearance of such sensations and change one's meditational posture. One should go on patiently, just noting as stiffness, stiffness, or hot, hot. Moderate sensations of these kinds will disappear if one goes on noting them patiently. When concentration is good and strong, even intense sensations tend to disappear. One then reverts to noting the rising and falling of the abdomen. One will, of course, have to change one's posture if the sensations do not disappear, even after one has noted them for a long time.